Hello and welcome back to Disneyland. Today I'm going to show you how to build the Haunted Mansion toy box that I showed you on Monday. I'm not sure how far I'll get today, so whatever we don't finish today, we'll probably finish on Friday. It shouldn't take more than 2 episodes to build this. Now here is a map of the Haunted Mansion ride in Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom. The layout is basically the same as Disneyland. I wanted to follow the layout of this map as closely as I could, but unfortunately, I'm limited by the interior room shapes and the placement of their doorways, so I changed my layout to go counterclockwise instead of clockwise. So before we can actually get to that, we need our interior. And let's go ahead and place our toy box door. And we will set the door properties. For the destination, we are going to link an existing toy box. And we already have the Haunted Mansion toy box. We created this way back in episode 5 so that we could bring out the interior toys for the Tiki Room. And the door destination locator tag, we're going to set this to 1. That will be the locator we're going to place in the interior, and we'll leave this on. Alright, so now we have our door, and if you wanted to, you could style the door and change it. And I'm going to do that, have it match the trim there for the Haunted Mansion. I think that'll look a little better. And the last thing we're going to need is a locator out here that we can place for when we come back out. So let me pull up my screen grab for this. I want to make sure I get it in the right position. So we're centering it on that door and about in the middle of the courtyard here like that. And we want to make sure that little blue dot is facing toward that doorway. So basically facing away from the mansion. So in my interior toy box, it's going to be like we're entering the mansion and then we're going counterclockwise and exiting out over here. Alright, so at this point I'm going to save my toy box and then I'm going to go through that door and I'll meet you there in just a moment. Okay, here we are in the interior toy box and we still have the buttons and the time delayer that we'd put down before, as well as the toy box door. And let me go into the editor. Now, this room is not one we're going to use or keep. It doesn't really fit anything that we have in the Haunted Mansion that I want to build. So we're going to connect a little corridor over here on the end of that room, like this, across from the toy box door. And then we're going to scroll over to 3-door room A. We're going to use this for our foyer. I'm going to rotate it like this. So we'll connect up that door there. The door that's nearest us, oh, I hate how it changes the view. The door that's nearest us there is the entrance, and the one on the far side is going to be for the stretching room. And for the stretching room, the closest thing we have that we can use is the elevator room. So we're going to place that here. And actually in Disneyland, the room really is an elevator. In Disney World Magic Kingdom, the roof is raised. But in Disneyland, the floor lowers down into another chamber. And we'll use this room for our Hall of Portraits. So we're going to connect it that way. I hate how it switches the drawer. This is such a buggy thing. Alright, and then for the loading area, we'll use this room again, 3-door room A. We'll use the square stairway for the stairs going up to the endless corridor, or endless hallway. And then we're going to use four-door room D for that. So the right side of this room is going to be the endless hallway. The left side will be the conservatory. So for the endless hallway, we're going to connect as many of these as it's going to let us. So we can do 1, 2, 3, and then that's as far as we can go. It won't let us build any further in that direction. So there's our endless hallway. And then on this side, we're going to build another little hallway. And connected to that, we're going to use the 6-sided stairway. And that will be for the seance room. I really hate how it changes that drawer on me. Alright, so then another 3-door room A oriented like that. On the far door, we're going to connect the sidekick haunted house, because that's basically the grand ballroom for the most part. So that is perfect for our needs. We'll do a 4-door room B for the graveyard. Connect it up like that. Stop helping me. And then for the next room, I'm going to make a little change from the video. I had the room where you disembark connected, but I'm actually going to add a long hall here for the hitchhiking ghosts. I just like the idea of doing that better. So I'm changing this on the fly. And then originally, I had the last room oriented like this. I'm going to change it with that orientation. And you'll see why when we decorate it, which probably won't be until next time. Alright, so now that we have all of the rooms in for the Haunted Mansion, let's style them. So we'll go into the styling menu. For the wall, we're going to use the Haunted Mansion walls, and I'm going to theme all. Are you sure? Yes. For the light fixtures, we're going to use the spine-chilling chandelier. I'm going to theme all. For the floors, we're going to use the Haunted Mansion floors. Theme all. And for the trim, the Haunted Mansion trim accent, and I'll theme all. And there we go. There is our Haunted Mansion layout, and it's going in a counterclockwise pattern. Okay, so we need to get out of the editor now, because in order to decorate a room, we actually have to be in that room. This is our starting room. So we'll go down our little connecting hallway here, which we'll delete in the future. And this is our new foyer. And here's a screenshot of the foyer. You can see that there's not much in it. There's a fireplace with 2 doors on either side. Each door leads to an identical stretching room. Above the fireplace is a ghostly portrait. And we don't have a room with this shape, so I simplified my design so that we just have one stretching room, and I added the portrait along the side wall. And so our stretching room is over there. Our entrance is going to be over here. So let's begin by theming this one room, because this isn't going to be the same as all of our others. So for this room, we're going to use... I think I went too far. We're going to use the Beast's Castle Wall. We're in the trim. That's why I can't find it. Beast's Castle Walls, and I'll just apply. And then we'll keep the chandelier the way it is. For the floor, we're going to use Carl Fredrickson's house floor. I'll apply that. And the trim we'll leave as the Haunted Mansion. So now this is what we have. And now to decorate it, that'll go pretty quickly. We're going to go into the wall hangings. I'm going to go left. And we're looking for the Haunted Mansion mirror, which is right here, Mysterious Mirror. We're going to center that on this wall. And I think I need to lower that just a little bit. Let me pull up my screen grab here. And we'll go just a little bit further down. So just like that. And then under Electronics and Appliances, if you go to the right, we have these blood-curdling candle sconces. We'll put these up about that level. We're going to place one over here next to the door, one on either side of this picture. Try to have it so the picture's centered between them. One over here with the door centered between those. One there and one there. And there we go, that is it. So that is the entrance to our Haunted Mansion. And it's a little bit bright in here, but don't worry about that right now. Okay, for the stretching room, here's a screenshot of that from the Magic Kingdom. And again, it looks identical to the one in Disneyland. Note the wallpaper with the vertical stripes and the portraits on the wall. And as the room stretches, you discover that there's more to the portraits than you first saw, because they stretch along with the room, and you gradually see how each of those people died. So let's begin by stretching, or by theming this room so it looks like the stretching room. And for the wall texture for this, we're going to use the Darling Nursery walls. I'll apply that. As you can see, that's a perfect match for that room. Light fixture will leave the same. For the floors, we're going to use Lit Wax Arcade Floor. And I'll apply that. That's a pretty close match to what's in the Haunted Mansion. And we'll leave the accent the way it is. Alright, so in here we need some portraits, some pictures, paintings. And we'll find those under wall hangings, and I'm going to go to the right, past all of these infinity character portraits. And this upper area of the elevator is the only part that we can actually theme, unfortunately, or we can actually hang things. It won't let us do that in the lower area. So let's put Scrooge McDuck over, on that wall from the door there. And I want to raise him up and put that there like that. Try to center it on that wall. On this wall, we'll put the Mystery Shack portrait. Again, try to center it on that wall as best you can. And then we'll do the Toad Hall portrait on this wall. And there we go. And that's as much as we can do in that room. Unfortunately, as the elevator goes down, we don't have any way to make them look like the picture stretch. And I don't have the original pictures from the Haunted Mansion for this room, so that's the closest we can do. Now for the Hall of Portraits, here's a screenshot of that. Note the wood floor with the diamond-shaped pattern and the carpet that runs through the main floor. There's portraits of various people along the wall who now haunt this mansion, and there's a rope barrier, which we have in the exterior toys, but unfortunately we don't have those in the interior toy box. So once again, let's begin by theming this room. And since we're right here with the floor, we're going to use Fred's Lair. I think that's the closest match we've got. For the trim, we're going to use the El Capitan Theater trim. which puts those little white pillars in there. For the wall, we're going to use Lit Wax arcade walls. Oops, did I pass it? There it is. And those walls look nothing like that thumbnail, but that actually works perfect. And the chandelier will leave the way it is. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Alright, since we're in wall hangings, let's go ahead and go to the right, and we'll put the paintings in here. It's too bad that it resets the drawer every time you switch to a new room. There's a lot of user interface improvements I would have loved to have made to this if I were in charge, because it's just not user-friendly at all. This interior editor is just very poorly designed. Alright, so we're going to put that right there. Try to center it on that wall. The next one we're going to try to center over here. This one we're going to place directly across from the first painting, which is over here. And I think this one we got to raise this up a little bit because it's a much bigger portrait. And I could reuse these, but I don't want to duplicate the paintings in this room because there's quite a few pictures. So we're going to use the Mystery Shack portrait again for this wall. We'll drop this down a little bit. Put that in there like that. Alright, and then for this wall, let's go over to the right. We have the Deadly Wall decor. We'll put that in there. And once again, we'll put the mysterious mirror in here. We'll do that on the other side of the door. Like that. All right. Rugs. The eerie red rug is what we want, and I want to line this up, and actually let's do that on this side of the room. I hate the camera inside these toy boxes, these interior toy boxes. It's so difficult to use, but you want to try to line these up as best you can. So that they're not staggered. That actually looks fairly decent, as best I can tell. Alright, and then in accent and decor, we'll go left, and I'm looking for the little statues. The horrifying hatted ghost bust. And I wish I could get closer to that wall, but it will not let me. So we'll have to try to eyeball it. Put it about the same distance from the wall if we can. Alright, let's see what we got. Well, the carpets are lined up. That's pretty good. And on this side, yeah, that one's out a little too far. So we'll have to try to push that back. But you get the idea. That's where that needs to go. So I'll let you tweak your toy box to try to get that right. And that leads us into the loading area. And here's a picture of that. This is where the visitors board their carriages. And this area looks different in each of the theme parks. This one looks like you're in a dungeon of sorts. And another one looks like you're just in another room in the mansion itself. So for this particular room, let's start once again with the lighting. We're going to use the wall sconces. So starting over here, make sure I get the height of this about where I want it. Yeah, that should work. So we're going to put 2 of them about equally spaced as best as we can from the corner there. Put 1 on either side of the door. Put 1 on side of that door. 1 over here. 1 over there. And if we keep going to the right, I think there's a light switch in here. I may have passed it initially. Nope, it's not in this drawer. Alright, it's in a different drawer. Seating and beds. Okay, we'll go to the left here. And the closest thing we have to that little carriage, which they call a doom buggy, is Darth Sidious's seat. It's the Emperor's chair from Star Wars. We're going to place a few of these along the wall here. You want to try to line these up so that they're in a line. Once again, it's hard. You can't get the camera where you need it to be to line these up properly. And then you got bugs like that where it thinks there's a collision when there's really not. It's unfortunate. There's no rug in here. There's no windows. Accent and decor, if we go to the left, I'm going to put a little organ in that corner there just for something because it's kind of empty. The unpleasant piano. I'll stick that in there. And once again, you'll have to tweak these because like that chair in the back is sticking out a little further than these two. Actually, all 3 are kind of not lined up very well. Those 2 aren't too bad, but you can try to tweak those as best you can. Get them lined up straight, but I'm not going to do that on the video. Alright, from here we have a staircase that the ride takes you up to the endless corridor. And I think this is probably the last room we're going to do today. Just because of time. So for this room, we're going to put in some wall sconces and some furniture. And this is one of those rooms that's a little odd because, as you can see, we don't go all the way over to that corner. It's putting us along this wall. And likewise over here, it will not let us get back in that corner over there. So there's nothing we can put in the upstairs area. The only thing we can do is the downstairs area. And that's disappointing, to say the least. But it's what you got to deal with. Alright, so we'll put a wall sconce here. We'll put one over here. And then there's a couple of candelabras. And I'm just going to drop one for right now in this little corner just so I have it. And then we're going to go look for the seating and beds. So I'm looking for the covered sofa, which is right here. We'll try to center that in that little cubby hole. Put another one over here like that. And the other wall's a little too short for a sofa, so we'll put a chair there. Like that. And then we'll grab a candelabra. Put that there. Put another one on the opposite side. Like that. So that looks pretty good. And actually, since that room went a little bit faster than I was expecting... Oh, wait. I knew I was forgetting something. Wall hangings. There's a couple of covered paintings I want to put in here that fit the look of this room perfectly. Right there, the draped painting. Alright, so we'll place one there. We'll place one on that wall. There we go. And that looks pretty good. Looks like a spooky old mansion. Let's do one more room. We'll do the this room up here. And here's a screenshot of this. So we ascended the staircase to the endless hallway, and there's a suit of armor guarding the hallway and a bit of furniture. And then there's a short corridor that leads to the conservatory, where we have the coffin with the trapped corpse who wants to get out. In the original ride, there are glass windows along the wall and various plants around the coffin, but I struggled to replicate this in the toy box, so I just made this another interior room. So once again, as we get started, since we're in the wall hangings drawer, let's begin with that. So we're going to scroll over to, well, before we do that, I do want to put one of these draped paintings in here. We're going to put that over here around this corner. Try to center it on that wall as best we can. And then we'll go back to the right. And I'm looking for the Haunted Mansion paintings. All right. So the flashing Medusa portrait, put that around the corner here, and we'll do our best to try to space these apart evenly. It's kind of hard with the camera here, but this one we'll put around the corner. That's got to sit kind of like that. And, yeah. Seating and beds. We have the hair-raising red chair. And in the picture, that was on the left side of the door, but we don't really have room for that here. So I'm going to switch that on mine. We're going to put this chair over here on this side. And over on this end of the room, I hate this camera. This is so frustrating. So poorly designed. Alright, so we'll create a little seating area over here. Because I can't really put glass windows along the back there, cover that whole wall. So we'll do something a little bit different. If we go to the right, we have the sinister sofa. Put that over here on that wall. All right, electronics and appliances. Come back to our sconces. And once again, and we'll place this like that. Try to center it on that wall a little bit. Actually, right over the couch is not a bad thing. Try to put one on the other side of the door. And then we go around the room. We're going to put one over on this side. And one on either side of the door, hopefully with the door looking like it's centered between them. So that looks good. Alright, for windows, if we go to the left, we have these royal red drapes. We've got this whole wall over here that looks pretty empty. So I'm going to try to put this one midway down that little hallway there. And then one over here. One about the same distance from this wall over here. And then a couple of windows. Which I must have gone past. Oh, here it is. Dreary view window. And we'll try to center this between those banners. Alright, let's see how that looks. So there's the endless corridor, the endless hallway. We've still got those suits of armor to put in, but yeah, that window should be a little bit to the right. That window looks pretty good. I think this curtain, though, if we stand right here in the middle of that, rotate this around, yeah, that curtain's got to go to the right a little bit. So we got to try to center that. Try to center that. And again, it's just a matter of fidgeting with it. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. That could go a little bit further to the right there. So if we're standing right here, that's pretty good. Alright, so let's get those suits of armor and then we'll call it a day. Accent and decor, and we go left. And I don't think we have to go too far before we find it. Here it is, Beast's suit of armor. And since I moved the chair over here, looks kind of weird having both of these things on either side, so we've got just enough room here to put a suit of armor on that side, so I'm going to put one on either side of the door here. And that looks pretty good. This one could move left just a little bit, but that's kind of nitpicky. Well, I think that's a good stopping point for today. Next time we'll finish building this attraction and hook up the logic for it. Until then, I want to thank you for watching. Please hit the like button and leave a comment before you go to let me know what you think of the build so far. That's all for me today. Take care.